data pipeline, what does that mean?
It's really just the joining of all of our systems to get data from the sources to kind of the people or the destinations where they need to be. So it's making sure that all of the data is properly collected and it's flowing through the system in a way that we don't lose the data, and then the data is easily accessible by those that need it.
Do you feel like it's easily accessible right now? Or are there issues with people not having access, or are we in a pretty good place where everybody who wants data can get it and figure out what to do with it?
I think there's always the need for more data access. I think if anyone says their job is done and everyone has all the data they need, they're either delusional or lying to themselves, because there's still questions of people needing to know, needing questions that they can't answer themselves. So it's an ongoing project.
You talked a little bit about some of how once the data is available, there are different tools and there are different places that people would use those tools. You want to talk a little bit about the stack that you're using to make the data available and the stack that the different people across the company, across the organization are using to access the data? I'm just wondering, what other things are we using and how are we connecting them, and what other tools are part of the Clearbit data universe?
Yeah, so our core data stack is Segment does 90 to 95% of our tracking. So that's all of our events, our identified calls, and all of that just goes directly into our Redshift, which is our data warehouse. And then we have kind of that 5 to 10% that's happening elsewhere. So that's, Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads, or webhooks that are kind of custom data collections, and we pipe that through with Stitch, which is a loading tool. Then it's all in our Redshift, and on top of that we use dbt to do our transformations. And then from there we use a tool called Census, which is operational analytics or reverse ETL. Essentially takes all of that data that we've joined together, ran tests on, validated, normalized, and put that into our systems like Salesforce or Customer.io. And so most people don't touch the data pipeline until it's at Mode, which is our BI tool, Customer.io, or Salesforce.
As someone who's using the data at the very end after you've transformed it and done all of these things with it, I'm wondering how much of this are you connecting existing programs or platforms or things where you're essentially just logging in and putting in a password or pasting in a key, and how much is really, you mentioned that we do have a little bit that's custom, how much of what we're doing here at Clearbit is custom, unique to us?
Very little. It makes it a lot less fragile that way. When you're building kind of custom integrations, someone outside of myself, given that my skill set is not on the data engineering side, has to maintain it. And so I've always pushed for getting the tech that can build those integrations and that can keep that kind of pipeline working, so that I don't need to consistently reach out and submit requests for fixes on our data. I'd say, most of it is put a key in, put your API key in, the data's flowing, and then SQL's kind of the only thing that I'm using to move data around.